Hi, folks. Welcome to Smart Living. I'm kind of excited here. I've got a new friend, Kimberly Selchan, who is the owner of Tutor Doctor. And I'm excited about this because we're getting ready to go into school season. And there's a great program where you can get some free tutoring. Plus, you know me, I love to hear about business owners and how they started out their business. So, Kimberly, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Daphne. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the time. And also, we're also having you here because we're here at the Better Business Bureau studio, right, the podcast studio. And one of the reasons why I got introduced to you is because you're an accredited business with the Better Business Bureau.
That's correct.
So let's start off a little bit about that. So with businesses and being accredited businesses and the tutor, where's the value for you in terms of being a member with the Better Business Bureau in terms of getting people to come in? Where's the value there?
Well, the Better Business Bureau, who doesn't want to be a part of that? It's the reputation. So it's, the expression, the reputation preceded you.
Right.
That's I build my business off of reputation and trust and integrity. And I wanted to align myself with the Better Business Bureau. So the BBB actually had contacted me and said, hey, we noticed you've been in business for over 3 years. Why are you not a member? And I was like, oh, is this my invitation? So I was delighted. I was delighted to become a member of the Better Business Bureau. And then after a few months, we actually were awarded the title of a For Good business because of our support of foster students in Arizona.
That's great. So you're doing really good work with the community. So that's good that you see the value in being a Better Business Bureau,
of course,
member for your business. But Tutor Doctor. So tell me all about your business. Obviously, you do tutoring of some sort of capacity.
Yes. And I'll be clear, I am neither a tutor nor a doctor myself. But Tutor Doctor, we are the prescription for success academically. So the services that we provide, of course, it's tutoring and it's also test prep. So we do a lot of SAT and ACT preparation to transition high school kids that are college bound.
Right.
So they get admissions to the colleges of their choice. And then the K to 12, of course, it's kindergarten up through senior year of high school. The majority of those students are middle school and high school seeking one-to-one help with math and science, the core subjects that all of the kids take through their academics. And then we also have a segment of our tutors that do in-home homeschooling, largely for the special needs community.
Okay.
Yeah, we're very diverse, and it's really as a tribute to the diverse staff that we hire. We've got, at any given time, we'll have between 70 and 95 tutors on the roster of tutors that are committed to the services that we offer. Then we're able to offer that service out to the community.
That's fantastic. So you guys actually do the tutoring in people's homes. So they
so a lot of it, one-to-one, sending the tutor to the home. So, logistics is always a struggle. If you need a particular subject, I need somebody who's got that expertise in that location on that schedule. And if we don't have it, there are other agencies, but that's, again, I want to try to have the most dynamic and diverse staff that we can to accommodate that.
That's great. It sounds like you have all the resources for all the different types of things that people need that may be struggling, that are being educated in some way.
Right.
Plus the testing thing, which when we talked, I didn't know that you did the LSAT and the SAT and all those different college courses, which I'm sure are really being utilized with a lot of, because you always have kids going, from high school to college, and they need the extra tutoring for that. I know I did when I was.
The stakes are high. Yeah, it's SAT and ACT and then AP exams. Yeah, and for our virtual students that prefer to have online, we've got platforms that we provide to the tutors. So we keep the sessions dynamic, just like our roster of tutors. You need to keep kids engaged. It's not like those that when blip in time, we call it the COVID period. It's not like that where you've got blank faces staring at you on the screen. It's very, very interactive, dynamic. They're using whiteboards, they're using all this stuff. So we use that for our test preparation largely. It is fantastic. You're able to measure the progress, the time that the kids are putting in. Because again, those stakes matter.
Right.
That score is the most important thing to represent your child's best self. So we want to be able to say, here's what they're putting in. We're projecting they're going to be able to get this score. You need to put in more time. So yeah, we can be very diagnostic.
I didn't know. Oh my God, I'm completely fascinated by that. So so for that one, wow, that is a huge measurement. So by how the predictor, you can predict.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So you start with a benchmark assessment so we can see kind of what are you made of, right? Grades are often misleading.
Okay.
Like kids, I've seen them, their faces are just, they express how surprised they are when they don't get a score on the SAT or ACT that represents the GPA that they're carrying in school, because you've got, you do your semester of chemistry and then you do 1 year of algebra. But when you take these comprehensive exams, you're going way back to algebra, and it's a comprehensive test.
Right,
So
yeah.
you're trying to get assessed over a 3 or 4 year period of time. And sometimes you forget that. That's actually really common. So yeah, it's a moment of time where the kids are like, oh my gosh, I need support. So we have to start with that benchmark assessment to just kind of get a sense of like, what do you know? What do you not know? And then they can be very, very prescriptive. You're a whiz at writing and reading. We don't need to spend a bunch of time on that. We're going to refresh it, but
Right.
we're going to really hone in on that math, because that's your biggest opportunity to improve your scores.
I'm sorry. I'm like totally like dumbfounded. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I wish this service existed when I was going to school.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
It's
I mean,
really
'cause
helpful.
You were just taught at whatever level. You just show up and then they just, teach you. It was never really like catering to what your needs were. Because I
Right.
remember I actually wanted to be a lawyer.
I did too. When I
Yeah.
was in 6th grade, I'm like, that's what I'm going to do.
No.
I'm going to be an attorney.
I wanted to be an attorney after I graduated from college, but I
Wow.
couldn't nail that LSAT. I mean, I do have a little bit of, learning challenges for myself, dyslexia. So, my God, I'm just sitting here going, oh my God, I wish I would have known you when I was 30 years old. It might have changed my whole trajectory. Literally, that's what's going on in my head right now. Anyways, I'm really impressed that you offer that services. But
Thank you.
So we talked about the LSAT and the assessments and stuff like that. Let's-
ACT and SAT.
Sorry,
I know
keep on
you
saying
want. I
that.
know. I know you want the
apologize.
LSAT, Daphne.
I know. I'm sorry. I don't
That's
mean- it's a
that ship has
subconscious
sailed. I
thing.
think.
I know,
I can help you with
literally.
that.
I'm sorry. So ACT and SAT.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit more about the tutoring for the younger kids and how you guys do that. Your model now. You just say you go in home and you also
That's
do
correct.
online too.
That's correct.
So can you talk to me a little bit about that? And also, I'm curious, like for parents, are you aligned with some schools where maybe they feed to you in terms of like if I'm a school teacher and I'm teaching at like let's say St. Mary's and I have some students that I think may be struggling. Is there a way like do you have some feed-ins where like I could like call you, we're connected with you, and refer some students to you? So I'm asking you a lot of questions here. Let's first start.
Let's break those down. So
Yeah.
I think you said the alignment with schools, and with public schools, generally not. The
Okay.
teachers can provide their own tutoring to the students, before school, after school. So, I would say that to any parent.
Okay.
Start with the school, your teacher for that, 6 months, 1 year that they're with that teacher. They're going to know your child the best, the benchmarks that are required, how your child is asking questions, etc. So, start with a teacher. Plus, it's free typically, so that's a good option. But the private schools and the charter schools, they don't have some of those requirements to
Okay.
adhere to the district standards. So we are a preferred tutoring partner for several of the private schools and charter schools. And then outside of that, parents will generally be the ones that just seek out the service. You can Google Tutor
Yeah.
Doctor, Tutoring Near Me, Reading Tutor, etc. And we generally come up pretty high on the searches. So it's largely parents contacting us on a private basis, and then we can talk about it later. But then we have some government relationships as well.
Okay. So now in terms of like, so thank you for doing that. I was just kind of curious to see how people
Yeah, a
will
lot of
find
people
you.
just assume it's like the guidance counselor says, "Oh, here's my list of tutors," and it generally doesn't work that way. Because the districts are there to provide the education to their students, and that's
their job.
That's
kind
how
of,
it should be, right?
It's
Right,
when
but
you
then
need
there's-
additional assistance.
Yeah, when you're like the one kid out of 30 that really needs the one-to-one, that's where we come in.
Right. Or if the parents see that maybe that their child is struggling, after school or something like that, I can see that too.
Sure.
So in terms of like, so you have the feed there. Now, the other question I asked was like almost like the business model. So you've got online and you have in-house tutoring. Can you tell me a little bit about how that works?
Right. And you had also said before about the younger kids. So there's there is a tendency for, we'll call them older kids, more mature kids, to do better virtually because they're used to technology, they've got smartphones, they have Chromebooks in their classroom. It's not always the case actually in terms of how they do in tutoring sessions. So I would say if you're a parent and you're thinking about, oh, I've got a 4th grader, he'll never do well online. He has to have someone come and sit down next to him. I've been surprised regularly. It's not actually that way. They do exceptionally well because it's one-to-one, and it's like us right now.
Right.
there's a screen between us in a virtual session, but it's just you and it's just me.
Right.
And as if I'm the student, it's all about me. It's how I'm learning, how I'm responding. If I'm not responding, you'll pull that out of me in a clever, creative way. We can take little brain breaks if we need to. And then the hour's gone or the 30 minutes is gone. So for younger kids, we might do shorter sessions that we are able to accommodate online, where we can't do that if I'm sending a tutor to the home and they live 20 minutes away from the family. It's not practical, right? They're not going to drive 40 minutes round trip for a 30-minute tutoring session. So I've used the word dynamic a lot because it comes up. Every kid learns differently. Their attention spans are different. The complexity of the subjects is different. So we need to be able to pivot with that. Virtual gives us that tool. And I will say, even in an in-person session, we'll often bring a device, like the tutor will bring a device side by side, because it's like, enough of the homework, enough of the pieces of paper and the pencils. Let's apply some of these activities in a gamified fashion. So the kids just respond so well. So like there is like the kind of step back, little kids like K through 5 elementary, right? They don't always need an in-person and they don't always need virtual. The same is true if they're middle school and high school. Sometimes those more mature kids, high school, they actually want a mentor. They want somebody to guide them to the next steps. Like, why is algebra important? I cannot tell you how many times kids say that, right? So,
oh my God, it's
you just need to do it.
It's a requirement,
right? Just do it. Let's get through. Let's power through. But like they respond really well to having a person, like a human, sitting right next to them, kind of cheering them on and not getting wrapped up into any of the high school drama that may exist. Like they're just like being with them side by side. So again, just don't make the assumption you've got an older kid, they need to do virtual. They really might actually benefit from having like the mentor sort of a person, a coach, sitting side by side with them. And the little kids, they can do incredibly well virtually.
I love that. So like what I'm hearing, a general theme from you is you assess the individual and then you accommodate what they may need so they can succeed the most. That's what I hear you saying.
You said that much better than I did, Daphne.
Really?
I should be better at this by now. But yeah.
We have some plus and minuses with both of our
It's very, very consultative. Like someone might say, I'll get, request forms. I'll say, I need an in-home tutor for my whatever. And then you start talking like, so wait, hold on. You've got club sports 3 nights a week. You've got this. Your other kid has this. I'm sorry. When are we going to have time to send someone to your home? It sounds like virtual would be a really good option.
Right.
Here, let's hop into a virtual platform and you can see it for yourself. Like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I need. I do not have time to have somebody coming to my house. So it's really good to be able to have both.
So in terms of tutoring, so with the kids, and so you just basically assess the individuals. But here's another thing I want to know. So you said at the beginning of this interview that you're not a tutor and you're not a doctor.
Right.
So why are you in the business of tutoring and being a doctor in terms of facilitating how that happens? Like, how'd you get in the business?
Oh, great question. I have always been an educator at heart, not in the institutional sort of fashion, but I've been a people leader. I've been a sales strategy, site director. Like that's my background has always been in people leadership. So, in a tutoring agency, if it was just me tutoring, I really need to be the one that's teaching. But my discipline comes in hiring people, doing professional development. So I am good at identifying talent and then providing them with the resources and the redirection that they might need, especially the communication skills, even though I wasn't able to articulate my business as well as you did.
You did a great job. I just summarized
but it's right. I gave you the tools and you were a great student, Daphne.
Yes, you did great.
But I'm able to hear when somebody's got a challenge and say, all right, let's kind of present it this way to the parents or to the students. So we're able to brainstorm a lot. And then like my staff that works with me, and I definitely say with me because they tell me what to do a lot. I check in with me evening. I'm like, okay, tell me what to do. I'm logging in again. What do I need to do tonight? Right, guys? And they're very well educated. They've got their teaching certificates. They're in the education space because they need to be closer to it. So I'm really good at building a team of experts in various areas, including like my social media people. Like, that's what they do. That's their area of expertise. And my job is to help identify that, retain them, keep them happy, compliment them, praise them, give them feedback, that sort of thing. So that's like the business side of it. But the education side, like when I was always hiring people, it's really all education. That's what it is. Like you learn the trade, you learn how to do it better. And then something that I personally benefited from, which is what most directly translates, I think, to the Tutor Doctor one-to-one model is that I was mentored a lot, mostly informally, but I had people that taught me to advocate for myself and to take some chances when I wasn't really sure if I knew enough yet to like apply for that position or go talk to that department head. They gave me that boost of encouragement and some direction. So the one-to-one mentorship, it personally benefited me. And so when I was trying to build this business, I'm like, I don't want to repeat like the whole, like the giant corporate center. I don't want the learning center. That just doesn't resonate with me. So I wanted the one-to-one. And so I have, yes, they're tutors, but they're academic coaches. They're mentors. They're, it's like maybe that 10th grader is looking at this 25-year-old just graduated from college. And they're like, wow, you're so old and wise. How did you get where you are?
Yeah.
But to them, like, they just kind of look back over their shoulder like, oh my gosh, it was you. I was you just a blink of an eye ago. And so that's mentorship.
My God, you're great. I just love you.
Oh,
You're a great facilitator. And also, can I just summarize what you just said? What I got out of it is that you're very good at leading. So you're very good at leading people. You're also very good at finding what people need and facilitating that. Like, I love this. I love everything. And you also really know yourself because you know what your skill sets are and you've put them to good practice. I mean, really, like, that's amazing. Like, you just realize, here are the skills that I have. How can I put that to play? And also, how can I help other people that are highly intelligent? And now you're giving them employment, these educators. So, I mean,
it feels great.
Yeah. So how many years have you guys been in business?
We are, we're in August? Well, January will be our 6-year anniversary.
Congratulations. So when we originally started talking, it was like, man, you got through the pandemic during this.
I did. That was year 1.5 or so.
Yeah, you're just starting, and the whole world changed. Yeah. And you somehow.
Especially education.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one that was impacted.
Literally closed on my business, on education. We're at the stance like, my school's going to reopen?
Yeah.
If they're going to reopen, what's going to look like? Are they going to just kind of pause education and say, let's kind of repeat last year? Yeah, everybody was in a holding pattern.
But you were able to pivot and make it work. Because when we first talked, I asked you, that was the first thing I asked you, how did you survive the pandemic?
Right.
And so it was great. So yeah, and that, you're good. You are going to be successful at any business that you want to do, and I mean that. I really mean that. I don't need to give you all these accolades, but I'm quite impressed.
And I will accept that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I also hope that the students and the parents, truly, like the parents are like they're our students too in a way. They're certainly our clients. I hope that by them having this, this mentorship and this guidance outside of the house, that they're able to feel successful because we all need help in different ways at different times of our lives. So if we're able to fulfill that period, if it's even just a semester, that the parents are losing it because the kids just like bombing. If they can get that support that they need when they need it, great. We've got a successful kid out there.
Yes, and I think usually mom and dad are not the ones to be the tutor. That's not necessarily the role the parents should play. That's not the role.
Right.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question, being that I am the smart shopper, and I always like to share ways for people to save money and things like that. But there's this great program that you mentioned that they're offering like free tutoring through the state, and you guys are part of it. So can you tell
my goodness.
parents about this? Tell us about how we could do this.
Thank you so much for asking. It is, so in, November of 2023, the Department of Education in Arizona announced a program called the Achievement Tutoring Program. And it's a federally funded program at the state level to provide free tutoring to Arizona students K-12. It's public and charter. Of course, the state's not funding private school and homeschool students, but public and charter, that's it. There's no and an income requirement or and an assessment requirement. If you have a child that is in a K-12 school in the state of Arizona, public or charter, they are eligible for free tutoring. And it's all vendor approved. So the schools are not providing it effective September 30th of this year. It's all Tutor Doctor would be one of the approved vendors. So we're one of a couple handfuls of local vendors that can provide the service. And we still do it even at the state level with this funding. We still do our one-to-one model. We don't compromise on that.
Right. Nothing changes.
No, it's still my business with the same integrity. No compromise. No second-rate tutors. That they all still have at least a bachelor's degree, if not higher. Right. And it's made a huge impact. You and I didn't talk about this offline, but we have to do an assessment at the beginning and an assessment at the end of every 6-week period. Just like with the test preparation, we want to measure progress.
Right.
And the state requires that. rightfully so. It's federal
Yeah,
money,
they have to find
right?
out what they're paying you for
Right.
if you're doing the job.
It has been quite an eye-opener to parents who initially will say, oh, I think my kid's around grade level, and they're years in grades behind often, and it's sad, but it's also very encouraging to watch, even in a 6-week or 12-week period, the amount of improvement they can make when they have that one-to-one support. So like it's been a very, very beneficial program. So it's out there, it's live, and yeah, and Tutor Doctor can help.
That's so great. So now I'm assuming that parents probably that are in the school system would know how to get a hold of, the tutors or get the list, the list. They would know more about the program.
That's a good assumption.
Okay.
I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers, but I will, in my free time, I will occasionally just pop into schools and say, hey there, you guys, do you have anybody that you're working with for the achievement tutoring program or the free tutoring? I do get a lot of blank faces. So
Really?
it's just difficult to tell everybody everything. There's so much the teachers and the staff, the guidance counselors that they are responsible for. So it's still for a parent. Just, you said it before, like if you see your kid is struggling with something, still start with the teacher. And if you're not able to get the help that you're looking for, Google free tutoring.
Okay.
I mean, yes, of course they would love people to choose Tutor Doctor, but there are other options. Just type in free tutoring. Will come up. Other companies will come up as well.
That's fantastic, Kimberly. I'm going to wrap this up, but I have generally enjoyed interviewing and sharing a little bit, and I think you've got an amazing business plan. I think you are an amazing person in terms of how you're viewing things, how you facilitate things, and how you lead everybody. Like, it's a win-win all the way around for everybody. So I'm glad people like you exist in our community.
Thank you.
So thank you again, and thanks for spending the time to talk to us. I'll have all the information to get a hold of Kimberly and Tutor Doctors on my blog. Just head to smartshopperdaphne.com. And don't forget, I'm Daphne Monroe, your smart shopper.